Are you tired of thinking about drinking, trying to control it, and ending up in the same loop? Welcome to the Feel Good Alcohol Free podcast, where high achieving women learn how to step out of the stop start cycle and build a life that feels calm, clear, and alcohol free on purpose. I'm your host, Lindsay, accredited sober coach and former high functioning drinker. After more than a decade of drinking every night while keeping up a big career and a life that looked fine from the outside, I rebuilt my identity from the inside out. Now I help women stop negotiating with themselves and trust their own decisions again. This isn't a podcast full of cliches or willpower pep talks. You're getting real conversations, lived experience coaching, and practical tools you can use inside your actual life, not perfect conditions. So take a breath. You're here because you're ready to feel good in your real life. So let's get started. Welcome back. Today is a special one. It's Christmas Eve. We've just wrapped up Hanukkah, if that's what you are celebrating a couple of days ago. You know, this is kind of the end of that season. These next couple of days, we get to come up for air and breathe after I don't know, maybe for you it's been a emotional or grounding or I'm not feeling as successful as I wanted to be kind of holiday. Or maybe you're thinking, I effing killed it this December and I can't wait for January. But anyway, wherever you're at today, just know that I'm always going to meet you there. And today is my birthday. It always brings up two versions of me when I'm thinking about my birthday. And if you've listened to some of my recent episodes, I definitely have shared some tragic stories about me and my trying to quit drinking journey as it relates to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So I'm not going to go into too many details about that because I think we need to be celebrating. But what this day brings up for me is I mentioned these two different versions. The woman I used to be on this day and the woman I get to be now. And maybe you're listening to this before anyone else is awake, holding a coffee and kind of hiding in the quietness of your house. Maybe you're in the car, taking one extra lap around the block before you go back inside. Or maybe you've got a million things to do. And this episode is the few minutes today that you're giving yourself. Wherever you are, I want you to treat this like we're sitting at the same table. And I just pulled out a second chair for you because this time of year can hold a lot. Big emotions, old traditions, unspoken expectations, which I've been talking a lot about lately. You might be the one making sure everyone else has a magical day while you're carrying questions, you don't even speak out loud. It's like you only care about the kids or the loved ones or the person you have to pick up or take to the airport or whatever those things are. It's important to make sure this time of year is magical for you as well, these next couple of days. So today, on this mix of holiday and birthday for me, I want to talk about the gift you give yourself when you stop negotiating with alcohol and who you become when that mental tug of war is no longer running your life, because that's what it is. When our mind is constantly on alcohol, when we've always got one eyeball on the bottle at the table, wondering if there's enough in there to fill our glass, like that is energy and real estate that is being taken up in our head that is useless. And it's not helping us feel the way we want to feel. So for years, this day came with a running negotiation in the back of my mind. How much is too much? Well, I don't want to feel awful on Christmas Day. I promised my parents that I would cook dinner. Should I just phone it in and start over on, January 1st? And I would spend so much time debating with myself on what actions I was going to take around alcohol that I didn't really have much left in the tank for actually living the day in front of me. And that pattern, it doesn't just happen on holidays. It shows up on the random Tuesdays after long work days, during the Sunday scaries. It shows up at kids' events, at dinners out, and at the end of any day where you've kind of been on for too long. And this mental loop, it might sound something like, okay, I'm going to be really good tonight. Or, well, maybe just one. Or, screw it. I've already kind of messed up. Or maybe right now you're thinking we're so close to January, I'm just going to fix it in January. I need that fresh start in January. This thought track is exhausting, and not just physically, but emotionally. And the holidays can turn the volume up on this. You've maybe had more invitations lately, more eyes on you, more moments where that glass of wine offered as the normal way to take the edge off. It's not always that you deeply want a drink. It's that alcohol has become the default button for your brain, and it's what it hits when it doesn't know what else to do. It's familiar, it's easy to justify, it's woven into the script of how you've gotten through days like this. I want us to look at what's actually happening in that negotiation and what changes when you're no longer arguing with yourself every night. I'm going to share a little bit of my story. Christmas Eve, one that I remember so incredibly clearly. The house looked perfect. The lights were on. There were music playing, people moving in and out of the kitchen, everybody laughing, everything looking exactly how it was supposed to look. I was standing at the counter, topping off my glass of wine, and this thought slid in. I wish I didn't feel like I needed this to get through today. Because remember, Christmas Eve is my birthday. There's a lot of signals to my brain saying, oh, this is the type of day you drink. It's like, it's Christmas, there's family around, it's celebration, and it's your birthday. Like all of these things swirling. And so I remember thinking, I just wish I didn't feel like I needed this today. There was no big scene. And from the outside, I was totally fine. I was hosting, I was smiling, I was doing all the things, I was refreshing dessert trays, and I was doing all of these things, but inside I was exhausted. I was tired of thinking ahead to the next day, that hangover, how crappy I was going to feel, and tired of wondering, like, why am I still carrying on like this? Why am I doing this to myself? And also tired of waking up on my birthday feeling like I was already behind. I didn't want to need a glass of wine to tolerate my own life. I wanted to just like feel open and free and like do something. Like, what were other people doing on this day that I was lounging around, starting it with mimosas and then, rallying in the afternoon for when it was time to have guests? Like, I just wanted to feel like myself again. And I wanted to trust myself. I had been in this gross loop of telling myself that I would be good or just have a couple glasses of wine. And like, who was I kidding? I already knew those were lies. Like, I already knew I was lying to myself. And I wanted to be in a room full of people that I loved, all people, by the way, who always made Christmas Eve not just Christmas Eve. Like, my family has always made Christmas Eve my birthday. And so who am I to show up half focused for them, half present, only thinking about my wine when these people, these family members and friends are also taking their Christmas Eve to celebrate my birthday with me. And I was tired of that. But at the time, I didn't know how to get that without alcohol in the picture. I didn't know how to move through those motions that day without that glass of wine in my hand. So I just kept topping it off and telling myself, I'm going to figure this out next year, January, right around the corner. I did that so many times, and I know that you have done it too. And probably not just with drinking, probably with that 5 or 10 pounds that you need to lose or want to lose, or I don't know, other things that you're trying to implement, like, oh, I'm going to exercise 4 days a week. And it's like, okay, why bother starting now? I'm going to wait until January. It's like, if that's where you are today, aware that something's off, but unsure what to do with it, nothing about that means that you're doing anything wrong, okay? It just means that your current way of finding relief has reached its limit. Like you're done with it. You know it doesn't work anymore. There's a moment in this process that is like an identity click, because that's really what we're doing here. You're currently living one way where all of the responses that you have are alcohol solves this, or I do these things while drinking. And you want to be living in a way where alcohol's not running the show. And that means that you have to train yourself and others on what this new identity is that you're creating. And it's really subtle, and it doesn't happen on like your best day when you're feeling really motivated. This is what happens. Like you have to build this new identity in the middle of your regular everyday life on a random evening when something inside you goes, I just handled that differently. Here's what's going on behind the scenes. When you repeat the same coping pattern over and over, your brain wires it in as the fastest way to relief. It's locked, it's loaded, it's what the brain is going to do every time you feel that way. May not be the healthiest way, may not be the most aligned way, just the way your brain knows. It's what it knows best. And so by the time you hit evening, your brain is fried from decision fatigue because you are a successful woman who is back-to-back meetings most days. You are managing teams. You've got a household to run. You're the one who's making sure all the bills are paid. You're the one that's making sure that the kids' activities are on track, scheduled. Everyone knows where they need to be when they need to be there. You've been managing everyone else's needs, making 100 tiny choices, holding back the irritation you feel, trying to keep the day moving, and your system is wound up. So if for years relief has looked like kids in bed, kitchen mostly clean, brain spinning, glass of wine in your hand, your brain tags that as, we know how to do this, and this works fast. Most women assume the problem is willpower. We tell ourselves, if I could just be stronger, if I could just stick to one. Oh my God, how many times have you said, if I could just stick to one? Doesn't work. We've all figured that out by now. If I really wanted it, I'd have stopped by now. But this is the misdiagnosis, okay? The real issue isn't that you don't know what to do. The real issue is that your brain only has one practiced path to off duty, and it's alcohol. Your brain is not craving a specific Sauvignon Blanc. It's craving relief. It's craving quiet. It's saying, we need to power down. It's craving space where nobody needs anything from you. The shift starts when your nervous system experiences relief without you checking out. Now, this could look like a few things, and this is where you get your little pen and paper out, because these are some of my kind of quick fix tactics to beat a craving, change where your thoughts are so that you can, choose differently than pouring a glass of wine. You could take a shower instead of pouring that glass of wine. You can change your clothes, wash your face. The point is you are breaking the routine that usually leads you to the kitchen, okay? This is something we say so much inside my coaching containers. Stay off the couch and out of the kitchen. This was literally my mantra when I was in early sobriety. I would be driving home. Some days my hands locked on the steering wheel like, Lindsay, do not pull into the store. I would have kind of my day count in my head, like you've been sober, 6 weeks, don't pull into the store. And then I would tell myself the whole drive home, just stay off the couch and out of the kitchen. You go for a walk, step outside, text somebody instead of opening that bottle of wine. You ride out a craving and you wake up proud instead of foggy. And in those moments, your brain is getting new information. It goes, there's another way to feel okay here. Once your brain knows that another option exists, it starts scanning for it. And that's when you're going to start noticing things like, I got through tonight and didn't automatically pour a glass of wine. I had a hard conversation and I stayed in it. My Sunday dread isn't screaming at me the way it used to. And that's not luck. And because remember, there's a few things that I say a lot, and I think sometimes this might rub people the wrong way, but hope, wishing, and luck are not going to get you sober, okay? It's not you just finally doing something right, okay? Your brain is recalibrating based on the experiences you keep giving it. Doing those little tactics to break the pattern, those are helping you quit drinking. It's about being consistent with them, which is kind of the annoying part because it takes time and consistency. So, identity doesn't change just because you stop drinking. Identity changes because your brain starts trusting the version of you who shows up for yourself in those moments when maybe the wine witch is talking really loud at you. That is the woman that I help you create inside Feel Good AF. If today feels complicated or, maybe a little tender, maybe you're feeling a little raw, that makes sense. Holidays can carry grief, resentment, joy, pressure, nostalgia, sometimes all in the same hour, sometimes all in the same, 30 minutes. Let's really dial it down here. So you might be smiling in photos and still feel like you're carrying a lot that nobody can see. You don't have to clean that up to be worthy of getting support here. You don't have to minimize it because other people have it worse. And you don't have to pretend that this is easy because, first of all, getting rid of a coping mechanism that you've been using in many different layers of your life is not easy. And it's okay if you're proud of how far you've come and frustrated that it's still hard. Like, that is very normal because you are a high achieving, successful woman. So until you hit this like shiny desired result of yours and, whatever you have in your head that maybe you're chasing after, you're going to be frustrated that it's still hard because you're not there yet. And this is one of the primary things that I teach inside Feel Good AF is like, don't forward focus so much and be frustrated that you're not at a certain point yet. Measure where you currently are to a previous version of you. And so if this Christmas Eve looks better than 2024's Christmas Eve, go effing you. That is amazing. Okay. If today looks better than yesterday, go you. Okay. Don't be frustrated about not being 3 or 6 or 9 months sober. Be really proud of how far you've come today. That's it. If there's anything that you get from this episode, that is what I want you to take away. Okay. It's okay if you're not sure you're ready to change, but here's what I want you to know. Ready is not a feeling. Ready is a decision that you make, okay? And you already know that you don't want another year like what you've maybe had this past year. You want next year to be better. And you're allowed to take 10, 15, 20 minutes for yourself today, mentally, emotionally, and physically, to decide what that looks like for you today. You're allowed to sit in the car a little longer. You're allowed to step outside and breathe in a little bit of fresh air. There's nothing wrong with needing a little space. This is awareness and you taking care of yourself. Okay. Gosh, I feel like I might have gotten a little hard on you there. Sorry. It's my birthday. I should be so much happier. Okay. I am really happy. I'm so happy that I get to share this episode with you on my birthday, actually. Let's move into what this looks like for women. The most amazing women come work with me, okay? Successful women who really have their lives together, but they just need help with this. And that's what I'm here for. It's because my zone of genius is taking this complicated situation, trying to remove alcohol from your life, helping you not focus on forever or 6 months from now, and bringing it into what is applicable to you in the moment and changing that and building your new identity. It's really where I thrive, and it's why women hire me, because I am going to get you from living the way you are to living to how you want to be living faster and with so much love and support because I've been you. And I have learned to have compassion for myself when I don't feel like I'm moving fast enough. And I've learned to celebrate my wins and show clear as day how far I've come. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is one of the most powerful tools that you can have when you start doing that. So let me share a story with you from one of my clients, because this specifically shows what this looks like in real life. So she was on a business trip and she was exhausted. She had these back-to-back meetings all day. She had a client dinner and she had this small talk BS networking thing that, quite frankly, she was an introvert and she was like, this is my worst nightmare. She gets back to her hotel late at night and she did what she always did on those trips. She poured herself her usual glass of wine before bed. And it had been a long day, and that glass was part of the routine. It was familiar. It was how she signaled her brain, we're done. But here's what happened. Oh my gosh. I was so happy when we had our session after this trip that she had. And I was just like on the edge of my seat listening to her tell me this story. So she stood in her hotel room and she was holding this glass and she thought about how she wanted to feel the next morning. Okay. Remember, she already has the glass of wine in her hand. Okay. She had a 4 a.m. flight. She had a Pilates class that she was excited about. She had intentionally booked the Pilates class as this mechanism so that she wouldn't drink. Also, it was for, an hour after her flight landed. And she pictured dragging herself through both of those things. And something in her just said, nope, not this time. This is not what I am going to blow my sober streak on. So she walked over to her bathroom in her hotel room. She poured out the wine and she took a shower instead. She didn't power through. Okay. I want you to notice she didn't white knuckle her way through. She paused. She slowed down so that she could evaluate how she was really feeling and recognize that this was an autopilot move that wasn't actually going to help her. And she chose relief that was going to support her in the next day, not just help her check out for the next 20 minutes. And then later in our session, she told me how much it scared her, how strong that pull toward that glass of wine still was. Because at this point, she was, 25-ish days alcohol free. And this was a trip that she was taking. She had already done other really hard things without drinking. And so she really realized oh my gosh, this is strong still. She also said, no one else can hold the line for me. Not my husband, not a rule that I create, not a calendar with a Monday waiting for me to start fresh. It had to come from her. Now she's booking massages on Sundays during the hours that used to feel hardest. She protects her peace instead of pouring the glass of wine all over it. This is what emotional sobriety looks like. This isn't about just not drinking. It's about choosing yourself in the moments that matter. This is how you break the pattern. This is how you show up for yourself. And that one night in her hotel, it's not like it fixed anything or everything, but it became a new reference point for her. Her identity started to shift from I'm the woman who always caves at the end of the day to I'm the woman who can feel a strong pull and still choose what supports me. That's the gift, not perfection. She's created proof for herself. And this is what we do in our work together. One of the biggest gifts of being alcohol-free is this. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop arguing with your own decisions. And you stop waking up wondering which version of you is going to meet you in the mirror. Instead of, am I going to drink tonight? Or, how bad is tomorrow going to feel? Or, can I even do this event without a glass of wine? The question moves to, what do I need to feel grounded today? How do I want to remember this? What choice will I respect tomorrow? Now, those moments when you wake up in the morning and you just feel like you were hit by a truck. Have you ever felt like the tightness in your head? It's like you need so much water and electrolytes inside you. You can literally feel your brain expand once you start consuming water. and the pain is so deep because there's also the anxiety and the shame layered into the physical pain. That's what we don't want anymore. That's what we want to get away from. My clients describe the difference between that and these other questions that we move to of my mornings feel clear instead of like I'm digging myself out of a hole. They tell me that they don't snap at their family the way they used to. They say things like, I can sit at the table and actually be at the table. I feel like myself again. Because you're not chasing some higher, shinier version of you. You are coming back to the version of you that was there the whole time. The one that tells the truth, the one that follows through and makes decisions that she can stand behind because she's there. She's doing that version of you is in the outside world all the time. There's a moment where life stops feeling like something you manage around your drinking, and it starts feeling like the life you actually wanted in the first place. Because I bet that you already have the life that you want. You're just not living in it. You're like a spectator of it, always feeling drained. And that's the woman you're writing toward when you stop negotiating with alcohol. You're going to the woman who's already got the life she wants. And you know what? If you don't have the life you want, you're going to figure that out really quick when alcohol is out of the picture and you have a clear mind. And I'm going to help you figure out what to do next with that too. I don't just like help you remove the alcohol and then say, okay, deal with all your problems now, because that's what's waiting for you when the alcohol is removed. All of the things that you've been avoiding, they are waiting for you. And that is the scariest, crappiest part about this, to be honest. But that's also the part that I hold your hand through because you are going to get from avoidance to solution mode. And that's the best part. When you finally have that clear head, you're like, okay, stuff's got to change. That is when you get to solution mode. And it feels good. And you know that it feels good because you are a high achieving, successful woman. You know how good it feels to implement a solution and see the change and feel better from it. That's what I really want you to know. Okay. It is wild how much can change in a short window when you have support. 2 weeks gives you some breathing room. Your sleep starts to settle. Your nervous system isn't getting yanked up and down with every glass of wine. You get enough distance to see what evenings actually feel like without alcohol running the show. Around 4 weeks, you're going to have a lot more clarity. Patterns that felt really confusing, they start to make sense. You see the times of day that are hardest. You notice the thoughts that trip you up. You start to understand what your cravings are trying to say. You're around that 6 week mark. And when I'm giving you these time frames, I'm not saying 6 weeks, not a drop of alcohol. Maybe you've had a few slips in there, but you're still getting the confidence. 6 weeks gives you confidence. You've got enough reps under your belt that your brain has a lot of proof now. We do this differently now. I can trust myself here. By March, 3 months in, most women are handling things they used to avoid: work stress, family tension, social events. And instead of bracing for damage control the next day, they're able to say, I really like how I handled that. Support doesn't make you dependent. Support gives you structure so that you're not using all of your energy just trying to figure this out alone. Your capacity grows faster. Your system calms down quicker, and you trust yourself and you rebuild your self-trust 10x compared to you are now. Because right now, if you're like I was, you're in this cycle of constantly disappointing yourself. And that means you're never going to trust yourself if you stay stuck in that loop. Identity doesn't snap into place overnight. It builds decision by decision, evening by evening, rep by rep. It takes consistency and it takes you continuing to show up for yourself. This is why women hire me, because they get to work either one-on-one with me or in a group. And in the group, they have all these other women who are also doing this. I keep my group really small, by the way. There's usually 25 to 30 people in it. I really like it that way because then it's also less overwhelming, but it's the perfect size to have other women who are just like you relate to you. And it helps you build this identity a lot more smoothly when you're not white knuckling your way through it in silence. I have to leave you, and I want to leave you with something you can actually do. I want you to take 10 minutes today, or sometime this week, this awkward week we're approaching in between Christmas and New Year's. You're kind of always in pajamas. You don't know what day it is. Sometime this week, I want you to write a letter to the woman that you will be next December. And I want you to write it as if you are her, future you. But I want you to write this letter to future you and describe how she wakes up, what her mornings feel like, how she moves through a day like this, like today. How does she handle stress? What she does instead of pouring a glass at 5 p.m., how she feels about herself when she gets in bed at night. Write about the version of you who trusts the choices that she makes, who doesn't need to negotiate with herself just to get through a holiday. The version of you who can be in a room with people she loves and actually feel present. Keep it simple, keep it honest, not perfection, no fancy self. Remember, we're not after the shiny object, just the real life that you want to be living this time next year. And then I want you to pick one thing from this letter that you can practice this week. Just one. Maybe it's going to bed 15 minutes earlier. Maybe it's taking a shower when you would usually pour your first glass of wine. Maybe it's telling the truth about how you're feeling to somebody that you trust. That's how you start becoming this new version of yourself now, not in January. I don't care that January is a week away. Just start now, okay? Yeah, do it. Start now. The tiniest little actions, okay? Because things are never going to calm down. So start right here in the life that you're already in. All right. Pay attention if something in today's episode landed for you, okay? Because this week between Christmas and New Year's, yes, it's a strange little pocket of time. The world kind of quiets down just enough for you to hear yourself. And if you join Feel Good AF, either group or private, you can use this week in the way it was actually meant to be used. You can dive into the self-paced materials that I include as part of my programming. You can slow down, you can settle your system, you can start these materials and you can listen to real client stories. You can start connecting with the women who are already in the same place that you are and walking into January feeling supported instead of scrambling. It's a really good moment to land and a really smart moment to start preparing for a different kind of year. The link is in the show notes if you want to explore it. No pressure. It's just an open door because I know that just doing dry January isn't going to be enough for you. And the reason why I know that is because so many of the women who participated in a dry January group that I hosted last year, they were right back in my group into my 3-month program by the middle of March. Because what happens a couple weeks after dry January is that you start to say F it when you don't have support or a plan to carry through with what you're trying to accomplish. And within a week, you're right back to your old patterns. I know this because I hear this over and over again from the women that I work with. And it was also my experience. Okay. So if you are wanting to do something different for yourself this year, you can do it today. And you can send me a message. I know it's my birthday, but I'm checking my DMs today. So send me a message if you want to join Feel Good AF this week. I am around and I am going to get you set up and you will kick off January with the live coaching calls. Okay. So, all right. If today all you do is write that letter to your future self and tell the truth about what you want next December to feel like, that counts. You are allowed to give yourself this gift. Thank you for listening to the Feel Good Alcohol Free podcast. If this episode landed for you, it would mean a lot if you left a review or take a quick screenshot of it and share it on social media. That's how this show reaches more women who are ready to stop living in the drinking loop and start leading themselves with confidence again. I'm on a mission to change the way high achieving women think about alcohol because you don't need more willpower or more rules around your drinking. You need real support, real tools, and the truth about what's actually possible for you. So keep showing up for yourself, keep telling the truth about what you want. And remember, the life you want isn't found in a glass or a bottle of wine. It's built in the decisions that you can stand behind, the ones that you feel really good about. My DMs are always open, and I can't wait to get to know you better. I will see you next week in the next episode.